You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
And we are back for round 4 of the Eternal Sealed Tournament presented by aReNGee Eternal and sponsored by KCBandit. We've got more matches coming your way in this 4th round, and we're going to start with a pair of 3-0 players. One that you might be familiar with. We've got HiThar on one side, and we have a lot of new faces in this tournament. There's a lot of new players. This is the biggest tournament we've had, and we've got a player here that I don't think we've ever had on coverage during the ETS before. We've got Lepor that is also at 3-0, facing down HiThar, doing quite well. And here to help break down this matchup with me is Man Unmouse.
Oh yeah, and I'm excited to see this match. We have basically the clash of the archetypes here. We have some Time Justice Primal mid-range played by HiThar versus a very, very well-built and very straightforward pure Argent here on the Lepor's side of the battlefield with some scary cards in there. He's rocking the Impending Doom, he's rocking Martial Ironthorn and the Venom Spine HiThar as the card that stands out. And on the other side, he has also some really nice synergies. He's gone deep with the double Piercing Grief, but he has the hero of the people to back those up. Like if he gets one of those combos off, that is a tough nut to beat.
Yeah, this is the rare seal pool where you get to be 2 faction and push synergy and have a strong game plan where he can be quite aggressive out the gates, but as you said, has some bombs on the top end, and that hero of the people Piercing Grief combo is always lurking. He also has some other synergy with these 2 Piercing Griefs, a card that I'm normally not super happy to play with in limited. He also has the what is it? Where'd he go? Xenon Cultist, where if your Piercing Grief dies, it'll get +2/+2. So the next time it comes back, it's 5/3. So there's some fun things going on there. But yeah, just a really nice, straightforward 2-faction deck. This is the kind of deck that really benefits from having those 2 Diplo seals, where you have to play. We see the 14 Justice Sigil, 14 Shadow Sigils, but those 2 Diplo seals can go a long way, and those 3 Seek powers as well. So super consistent power base out of Lepor, helping to leverage that while also having a really nice curve. Not only does he have these Piercing Griefs early, but he has 2 Minotaur Grunts, a Cabal Cutthroat, and Argentport Instigator, Minotaur Oathkeeper, District Infantry. He's got some really strong early game plays.
Yeah. That is some really scary early game. Not only does he have the War Cries, he has aggressive units to back them up. He has Finest Hour Combat Tricks to push them through, and Dark Return to bring them back in case something went wrong. He has some forms of hardware removal in form of Vanquish and Death Strike there. So that's a scary list to be up against.
Yeah, but HiThar's been holding his own so far, also in the 3-0 bracket. So he's on maybe what we're more used to seeing so far with this kind of primal time-based 3 to 4 to 5 faction, just here are my bombs deck. So coming out of HiThar, we see it's fun to just look at the bottom of the list where all their top end is and go from there. And we see Channel the Tempest, Jaral Iceheart, Hatchery Hunter, Fourth Tree Elder, Ceremonial Mask, splashing for Shatterglass Mage. Why not?
Of course. Just throw it in there for good measure. He's running quadruple Xenon Guardian, so once HiThar stabilizes the board and is not pressured in the air, the ground will be lost once he gets to high power totals. Like there's just going to be an army of 8/8s marching in on the board there. It's really scary. He also has a bunch of low level bombs, low power bombs, I should say. He's running Stand Together. He's running Order of the Spire. Just Stand Together can absolutely make or break a game alone. And I think it looks like the players are ready. The mulligan happened here, and looks like HiThar is off to a good start, really.
Yeah, this is a great hand for HiThar. Has lots of fixing and Seek Power, a Banner, and a Combre Stranger, so he's got to be happy about that. I think if HiThar's got one weakness, even though he's got good bombs and inevitability with those strong plays, his removal is lacking, which I think is why he went out of his way to splash these fire cards. He's got 2 mortars to go with this Shatterglass Mage, because really outside of that, his other removal is like a tempo play like Teleport, a Lightning Strike. I guess that's why he's playing unstable form. Just sometimes you got to deal with something by making it better, but also worse.
Yeah. He's going to have trouble against flying heavy decks. He has very little silences or flying units on his own. So I can see playing all this fire-based removal because it's damage-based removal, but you don't care that much against flying units. They are usually pretty tiny.
Yeah, HiThar crucially top decking that 4th power. Now he's got to decide if he wants Ancient Lore to try and smooth out his draws, get Xenon Guardian down as a 3/3 here to help gum up the board, or use Mortar to take out this Spire Chaplain from Lepor so he doesn't curve out of control. But opts to go with the card draw and gets rewarded by hitting 2 units.
That is usually not how it goes with Ancient Lore. It usually draws 2 sigils there.
Yeah, okay. HiThar would have been happy to find power, but I think he's also very happy to get some units here. And also gets rewarded for holding this mortar as a weapon comes out on the Spire Chaplain.
Oh, this is going downhill. Unless Lepor is like a finest hour to back that up, this game will be, as soon as the 5-4 goes down, I think Lepor is going to be in a terrible spot here, really.
Yeah, HiThar's going to swing first, maybe to try and fish to see if he can find those pauses, as Lepor does have Finest Hours in his deck. And then, he's going to pull the trigger on this mortar. Now, the good news for Lepor is,
yes, the Finest Hour. That is so crucial. This Finest Hour might win him the game here. So HiThar's deck does not have that many answers to a 5-4 quick draw this early on in the game. Later,
yeah, Lepor has a second Shadow Source, so that lets the Impending Doom come out, and talk about pressure here. Holy cow.
That is absolutely rough. So I think you want to mentor I think I would have gone with the 2-3 here. And jump the 5-4 with the Stranger. Next turn, take the double block on the 5-5 and then try to find an answer for the 5-4 quick draw. Because this doesn't matter. All these lines go out of the window with this Death Strike hitting the field here. Yeah, this is getting out of control really fast. I don't agree with this line, though.
Yeah, I don't see the significance of making Impending Doom a 6-6 over a 5-5 and missing out on 5 damage there.
Yeah.
Like, you are the beatdown here. Your opponent's got a bunch of cards in hand. They just drew a ton. And as Lepor, your hand is mostly sigils at this point because of the Chaplain. If you're going to use Death Strike that aggressively, I think you also get aggressive with Impending Doom. Like, it feels like a disjointed line of play there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should have just mentored his Wisp and then next turn went for the whole A space there.
Mm-hmm.
Does HiThar... Interesting attack there.
Yeah. Well, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, that might have been why you didn't care about the 2/2 flyer. But I also don't know why you cared about buffing up your Impending Doom, because it was going to be super lethal anyways. But with that kind of curve, you can make whatever decisions you want. You're just curving out and killing people.
That was brutal. But to be fair, it was also really good good draw here from Lepor. He basically drew most of his really strong game-winning bombs there.
Yeah, 3/3 for 3, and then the next turn got to put Blackguard sidearm on it, hold up Finest Hour, and that was the play of the game, right? Going for that mortar, hoping to take out that large quick draw unit, and Finest Hour noped it right out of there.
Yeah, completely agree with HiThar's line there, though, to go for the mortar. Because it would have been hard with his hand to set up a viable double block on the 5-4 and then go for the mortar blowout. I think that would have taken too long. So I think he kind of needed to bank on Lepor not having the Finest Hour there.
Yeah, I agree. You're basically in a spot where if they have it, you're not winning. So might as well hope they don't. All right, so players are sideboarding still. Once that match gets back in, we'll jump back into it. But yeah, as you said, Lepor that's what we were talking about. He's 2 factions super consistent. It's not like HiThar had a bad draw. He had a nice curve as well. Even thought he had the time to draw some cards instead of play more things on the board. And then Lepor just put the pedal to the metal and took it to him.
Oh, and I completely agreed with it. There was no pressure on the board, really, at that point. And I think I would have gone for the card draw there as well. Lepor off to a furious start here with the double Piercing Grief opening. Well, it's not the double Piercing Grief, but it's the Piercing Grief into instant revenge. Putting on some early pressure. Wow. Lepor's deck is just firing off all cylinders here.
Yeah, we were talking about that he's not only just two faction with strong cards, but has a lot of synergy, and we see it there. We're alluding more to other ways to use Piercing Grief, but a 5/5 for 3 is pretty good as well. Huh.
Wow.
Opts to make it a 7/7 just for good measure, and that makes HiThar's teleport a little more valuable if he wants to go that route here. Could also use Unstable Form to turn the Thorn Beast into something that's likely smaller.
Yeah, I think he really wants to find that primal influence here, because that Unstable Form can be crucial for him to come back in this game, because otherwise he has no way to contest this Stormbeat. He really needs to find a primal sigil here. Like Unstable into teleport might be his way back into this game.
Mm-hmm. He opts to get the Silverwing Avenger down here instead, turn the Thorn Beast into a base 3/5, although for now it's still a 5/7. And Dark Return, the Piercing Grief, can trip and apply the pressure. HiThar's at 12 right now. He's going to have to, I think, throw this Avenger in front of something.
I think if you 4/2 doesn't stay on the board, I think if you jump with the Avenger, you'd save yourself. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, one extra life point gets saved by switching over to the Thorn Beast, and that's what we see here. Man, Lepor has a deck here. This has been impressive in these two games so far.
The only thing he was missing this turn is with the Hero of the People. Like Hero of the People into Dark Return.
Yeah. But this is exactly what Lepor wants to be happening in this tournament, where HiThar is on this kind of greedy 3-faction good stuff pile, and that's a lot of the decks in this tournament. And he is just 2-faction curving out, doing strong things on every turn.
Yeah, I think his best line he can take is just hold still, wait for Lepor to swing in, teleport. Oh, and Lepor played a unit first hand. That's pretty good for HiThar. That will provide him with some much needed time here.
Yeah, if Lepor's stuck on power, and he cannot redeploy the Thorn Beast, which he could have also then chose to eat up the Oathkeeper with and turn into a large menace again. It would have been a 5/7 again, basically. Instead, this is huge. HiThar finds a Seek Power, gets a Primal Source, and has a little bit of breathing room here.
Yeah, and next turn, the Unstable Form might swing the game around. Most likely he's going to play... So he could either play the Stranger or the Xenon Guardian. I think I like the Stranger here, because the Xenon Guardian might be his win condition in this game, and the Stranger will do a fine job of trading off with the Cabal Cutthroat here.
Yep, Lepor crucially here still only on no double shadow, but Martial Ironthorn isn't the Ravenous Thorn Beast that HiThar was expecting.
I mean, for now, the Marshal is just a body, right? You don't care about the ultimate at this point. Until that becomes a problem, a lot of time will pass. So maybe, I don't know if I like an Unstable here at all. Like, the Martial Ironthorn was not a problem on this board. I disagree with the Unstable there.
Yeah, I think I liked looting with Blind Storyteller and then playing Guardian more than using an Unstable there. Because you would have had 3/3/3s down. Now you're giving them... Oh, okay. Well, now you have Deadly Strangers. All right. I'm not sure. I mean, Unstable Form's a tricky card to play with regardless, but I liked how the power worked out, where you're not casting Channel the Tempest this game. You're at 8. You have double Primal Influence right now. I think digging with Storyteller and then just getting your other 3/3 down there was fine. Yeah,
I think if I would have liked an Unstable Form, I think I would have liked it on the 1/1, just to make sure it's not going to buff the Ironthorn when it swings in, so it's not a 6/6. You don't have to 2-for-1 yourself there.
Wow. All right. Well, Mortar is the draw for HiThar, but he doesn't have Fire Influence here to cast it. It could end up helping dealing with this Roosting Owl, and doesn't have the influence to cast Ancient Lore, so 3 uncastables in hand.
Oh, that is so rough.
Whew, yeah, and this is where if maybe he'd used Storyteller last turn as well, he could have gotten another one of these uncastables out of hand, digged a bit deeper. Instead, the Owl is a menace, and he's dead next turn right now.
Oh, he might make it.
All right.
He might make it. He's not really in a position to exhaust anything here, I feel. I mean, he could exhaust maybe the Blind Storyteller to get a tiny edge here. But it's scary. Like, he has an equal amount of ground blockers to his opponent there, so if he exhausts one, at least one get pushed through, so he dies to a combo trick. I think he goes for the exhaust here.
Yeah, goes for it, is willing to go down to one, or if any removal spell comes out, dead. And yeah, HiThar presents the lethal Dark Wisp, or is presented with a lethal Dark Wisp and has to block it.
Yeah, so he can't play around and execute anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That line has gone away. I mean, he's not in a terrible spot here. He has removal and card draw in hand. Oh, boy.
We can revise that
Never
statement
mind.
now. The double shadow has shown up for Lepor. Impending Doom unlocked. And HiThar's got to go digging for I don't even know what he can find at this spot.
That is not good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, the Shatterglass Mage does look pretty tempting if you can warp it in, but it's not going to be playable due to the influence, and it's also not going to influence the board in a way that lets him come back here. Yeah, I think it all comes back to the unstable form usage. He basically gave his opponent the threat in the air, right? And
yeah,
it's a rough one.
That was a Martial Ironthorn, which granted is a scary card, but it's really at its scariest once your opponent gets closer to 12, 13 power, and you know the ultimate's about to happen. You got to deal with it at some point, but I think at that stage of the game, it was you had the ability to better sculpt your hand, get that Channel of the Tempest out, and find a better game plan rather than throwing chance into the wind with unstable form.
Yeah, that might have been like one of those reflexes. I've seen that a couple of times from really good, really experienced constructed and ranked players. They see the Ironthorn, their minds are set, okay, that is a threat that needs to go. Let's kill this guy. As a draft player, you see this Ironthorn and you look at your opponent's power and think, he's at 6 power. Yeah, that's a 5/5. We don't care about it for the next 10 turns or so.
Yeah. HiThar especially is a well-known Cambrai player at the Eternal Tournament Series, so he's used to whenever his opponents let him keep a Martial Ironthorn, he knows next turn, oh yeah, I get to go off with Mystic Ascendant, this is great. And he might have been set in that mindset. That's a good point there. So it looks like we have another backup match to jump into. We've got Kalsir versus Piquette. They are tied 1-1, so we're going to try to jump in there. Hopefully I still have room on my friends list to do this.
That's what I'm praying to as well. Yeah, looks like.
Yeah, I'm generally pretty good at keeping some spots open before a tournament starts. So we'll try and hop in here once they notice that we've sent out the request. And in the meantime, let's see what kind of match we've got coming up here.
Looks like Kalsir is on a Felon list with a Justice Splash here. I see a Hammer of Might as a splash. I see, Spiked Buckler on the splash. That's interesting. So it's mostly some weapons to augment his units.
All right, there we go.
I'm ready.
Yep, I am as well. So let's hop on in. Let's check out what Kalsir's up against as well. Again, these players are tied 1-1 this match. This is the third game, so this is the decider. Kalsir looks like he's got a hand he's going to ship away. It's only got 1 power. On the other end, Piquette is on a 3-faction deck as well. Fire Sigils, Primal Sigils, and Shadow Sigils abound. Steelbound Dragon, Sapphire Dragon up on the top end. A Staff of Stories. All right, that can do some work. Champion of Cunning as well. Sometimes Grasping at Shadows. Steward of the Past. All right.
Oh, yeah. Grasping at Shadows. Interesting.
Eye of Winter from Piquette as well. So Piquette is not lacking on card quality here. Fixing is, I think, the weakness of this deck. I don't see any on. Okay, 1 on faction banner, 0 on faction strangers. That's a rough spot to be, but if Piquette can cast his spells, he's going to be in a good spot in most matchups.
He is, and he's running one of the cards that are deemed unplayable in the draft format, really, but it's pretty good. In sealed, he's running the Cobalt Ring, a very slow card that allows you to filter or loot every turn. And in a slow format like this, that card can do some serious work in improving your hand quality significantly.
Yeah, and a card that is good at decreasing hand quality significantly is Treachery, which Piquette is also playing. This is a format largely defined by what you got, and if Treachery can pull that out of your hand, you're gonna be in a really good spot.
Oh, interesting. Treachery. The problem with all these hand disruption tools is they are very bad later on in the game. You want to have in the early game where your opponent has a full hand, and then you have the highest likelihood to hit something. Later on in the game, they become pretty bad top decks. But given the fact that Piquette has card filtering in his deck, it might not be even that big of a downside.
Yeah, I like hand disruption effects generally in this format. Oh, the absolute dagger, or maybe gem blade here for Kalsir needs the justice source, but it's turned into a weapon. That's not exactly how you want that to show up.
Oh, that is so rough. And he could have maybe played around by keeping power and by not playing the 5th power deck. His deck is somewhat low to the ground. He has like 1, 2, 3 6-drops in his whole deck.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been the only punish for not playing his 5th power there. I mean, it's a very fringe case and easy to overlook. But as you can see, if he would have been able to play the Silverwing Familiar last turn, the game would look vastly different now.
Yeah, so Piquette that turn, though, didn't add a ton of pressure to the board, used Herald Song to discard Herald Song, and then trotted out another Dark Wisp. And Direwood Rampager, maybe not the biggest and best payoff for 6 power, but on an empty board, it's going to get the job done with your opponent at 10 health.
Sometimes that's all you need, right? You just want some big bully at the top of your curve.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're uncontested, Rampager is really good at bullying. Yeah, that is going to spell doom here, most likely for Kalsir. He can produce 2 1/1s flyer for 7 power. That is unlikely going to do enough. I mean, does have Kalsir a way to come back into this game? Maybe. If he jumps now, next turn, rips a Justice Sigil, goes, never mind, he's dead. I don't know why I tried to...
Yeah, well, he's behind. If he can get double justice and harsh rules now, this is oh man, and Piquette had some sort of other fast spell there, but yeah, this is the ratings on the well for Kalsir here. Needs a Rhyme Scale Draconis. Doesn't have one in his deck.
I mean, he can prevent it's still not good enough, right? Nah, unlikely. He can.
Let's see. The Familiar puts him to 6. Choice takes out the 6/4. 5 comes through. He's not dead technically here. I just don't know how he comes back.
But if he equips the Gem Blade, makes a 4/4, he can block, but then he takes too much, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this brings him to 9. No, he can trade with the 6/4 here.
Yeah.
And
both
not
lines
be dead.
End up with a
pops the Aegis.
Get a flash freeze, or did he do a sequence error there? Because we know he had a fast spell early on, right? Might just be a rapid shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But if it was rapid shot, you would just rapid shot the bird and then stun it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Kalsir lives at 1. Cobalt Ring from Piquette means the pressure's going to keep coming. Kalsir's got 2 removal spells in hand, but Island's Choice doesn't even hit any of them. So he's looking pretty dead here.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to do here. You just accept your defeat, move on to the next one. And they were tied, you said?
Yeah, that was 1-1. That was the decider. So that means that Kalsir goes down. Piquette takes that one. And that is, I think, the last match for us this round. We're getting in a lot of good action every round, though. These have been some fun games. A lot of great spells flying around, and also a couple Direwood Rampagers for good measure.
I mean, this game kind of didn't look much like it, but this game certainly highlighted how skill testing Eternal can be. Not playing the 5th power there is a play very few players, I feel, would make to keep the your Emerald Monument from transforming, because you really need the Justice influence. Mm-hmm. And I think it could have really, a different player might have chosen this line and turned the game around by being able to play spells there earlier.
Yep, when you're behind and your outs are few, you've got to think about those weird little edge cases and small percentages, because
Yeah.
even though it's unlikely, it still can happen, as we saw in that game. And as you said, it made a huge difference there. If he could have gotten that familiar out a few turns sooner, get a 5-5 down into play, that's a very, very different game.
And I don't want to rag on Kalsir. He's a good player, but he's also in a pressure situation, right? It's you are playing a tournament, you're on a feature match. I certainly wouldn't bring my A game.
Oh no, I've played in enough tournaments to know that I do not bring my A game in every match of every second. That is, and even then, as you said, there's reasons to play out that power. He's got 6 drops. He could draw something that does punish him. It goes both ways.
Yeah, so very tricky line to take there.
Yeah, it ended up being the wrong play, but there's no way to know that it was actually going to be the wrong play. There's just so many unknowns as to what's next on the top of your deck. So with that being said, we're going to just do a quick little plug here about the next upcoming ETS season. I guess we're just calling it season 7. So we were currently on break from our normal ETS opens, kind of enjoying the holidays. The World Championship was a few weeks ago, so we're giving all our players a break and having fun times like the Seal Tournament, Eye of Winter Classic coming up. But the normal Eternal Tournament Series is coming back starting in January of next year. So we're about a month away. I don't know. We don't have the exact start date yet, but it's expected to be early to mid-January. So every 3 months, there will be a 2-day invitational tournament based on how you do in those weekly opens leading up to it with cash prizes. And then every year, there's a big old annual championship. We just had our World Championships that Kamado took down. Unearthly got second, and some guy named SirRhino got third in. So those are always fun. A lot of great players, and maybe not some so great players, because it's open to everybody, and it's a great way to practice best of 3 formats, sideboarding, open deck info, and just a way to become a much better player. If you want consistently high quality play, want to go up against some of the best players out there, the Eternal Tournament Series is a great way to do it. And plus, it's free to enter. All you got to invest is a Saturday afternoon like today. And I got to say, it's one of the best things, one of my favorite parts of this Eternal community. So be sure to check it out. Get all the info you want over on aReNGeeternal.com. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and get back to round 5 action in just a moment.